Well, hey guys, how are you today? I hope that you are all doing well. So I have a question for you. How many of you have ever been to a wedding before? They're pretty fun and fancy events, aren't they? It would take a lot of work to plan and prepare for a wedding, wouldn't it? Have you thought about that before? What are some of the things that you have to do to get ready for a wedding? Well, let's see. You'd have to decide if you wanted your wedding inside or outside. The bride needs to prepare by buying a dress, and there are lots to choose from. The groom needs to decide if he's going to wear a tux or a suit. You also need to create your list of people to invite and send invitations. You would need to decide what food you are serving your guests. Dinner, or maybe you guys like pizza, or maybe just dessert. I like dessert. But what about the cake? There are lots of choices for cake. Well, those are just some of the things that you would need to decide to get prepared for a wedding. There's lots to think about, isn't there? And if you aren't prepared ahead of time, that could make for a pretty interesting wedding. Just think if you invited lots of guests, but you didn't plan for that much food. Then you'd have people who would be hungry, and that wouldn't be a good thing. Well, our lesson today is about being prepared. And there are things that even as kids that we have to prepare for every day. Just think about when you go outside when it's cold and snowing. You have to put on your coat, and you have to put on your hat and your gloves and your boots just to be prepared to go outside in the snow. Or every day at bedtime. What are some things that you have to do to get prepared to go to bed? Well, I bet you probably put your pajamas on and you brush your teeth. Maybe you read a bedtime story every night. And then hopefully you say your prayers before you go to bed. But that's just getting prepared just to go to sleep at night. Well, our world friends today are learning lots of lessons about being prepared. Let's see how they're doing with that.
Yeah! Oh, come on! Aw!
Crash Tractor.
I can't believe we have to go camping.
You aren't excited about our Camping Crusaders trip?
You do know the whole thing's gonna be outside, right? Wait, is that Chet? He's taking us camping?
Hello, Camping Crusaders. I'm Chet. I, and my mom, will be your guide in the harsh and unforgiving wilderness that is Glenview Park. I, and my mom, have been entrusted as your guide, and I am determined to have everyone come back alive this time.
Wait, what?
Your survival depends on being focused, dedicated, and prepared. What's the Camping Crusaders motto?
Prepare to encounter God!
Crash Tractor.
Now, it's your responsibility to bring everything on this list of vital equipment and supplies. Are there any questions?
Would you say your eyes are blue or more of a grayish blue?
Any relevant questions? Then I'll see you at 0700.
Crash Tractor.
Hey guys,
Where have you been?
I overslept. I was up late trying to beat the last level of Crash Tractor.
Gabe, nice of you to join us. Okay, everyone, let's cook lunch.
Great, what are we having?
Whatever you brought for rations.
Rations?
It was the first thing on the list.
List?
You didn't bring your rations.
No.
Well, go see if you can find some edible roots or berries then.
Can't we just share food?
What if no one remembered food, Gabe? You can't just rely on someone else being prepared.
Hey, Gabe, did you find something to eat?
I found some tree bark and some grass. That's edible, right?
Edible, yes. Nourishing? No.
Gabe, you'd better get your tent up. It's supposed to rain tonight.
My tent. Right. my tent.
Gabe, are you joining us for our morning hike?
Gabe, why are you wearing a bush?
My clothes are soaked, and I do not have extra pants.
You've been having a rough time out here, Gabe.
What is the point of all this? It's so lame.
Do you remember why the Camping Crusaders motto is prepared to encounter God?
Something about God being in nature or whatever.
If we're unprepared when God calls us into action, then we've lost sight of what it means to be a Christian. Do you understand?
I think so. I just have one more question. Can I please borrow some toilet paper?
Well, I seem to remember you packed your Crash Tractor strategy guide.
So how many of you have gone camping before? Camping can be a lot of fun, can it? But you kind of sort of have to be prepared, don't you? Let's see, you need to have, well, a tent is a good thing, and a sleeping bag. Food is pretty important, and I think one other thing that he forgot was some extra clothes. Yep, bringing along clothes when you go camping, some of those are some pretty important things to be prepared for, aren't they? So why was Gabe unprepared? Well, he was kind of distracted and busy playing his Crash Tractor game, wasn't he? And he wasn't paying any attention when the camper director guy was telling him, like, this is what you need to pack. And then he even got a list, and he took the list home and he didn't read it. And then he showed up late, so he really wasn't even prepared as to what time to show up, and he didn't have any of the important stuff. So that did not turn out to be a very good camping experience for Gabe, was it? I don't think so. Well, do you remember their camping motto? It was called, "Be prepared to encounter God." Be prepared to encounter God. That is a really good motto for going camping, isn't it? Well, how do you get prepared to encounter God? Well, I think that if I'm going to be prepared to encounter God, that I need to have my eyes and my ears open so that I am seeing when people around me are needing help so that I can be God's light to them. And by listening to people and being supportive of them, we need to pay attention to other people and be ready and be prepared to be kind and to be helpful and to share God's love with them. Our story today takes place at a wedding. And have any of you ever been a ring bearer and gotten to carry the pillow down the aisle, or been the flower girl and been able to throw the flower petals on the floor as the bride comes in as you're going down the aisle? Well, usually at a wedding, when you're involved with that, there's some things to prepare for. You have to pick out your special outfit that you're going to wear, or the beautiful dress if you're the flower girl. And you usually go to a practice too, don't you? So that you know what you're going to do and you know what to expect. Well, in our story today, the bridesmaids were responsible for preparing the lamps. And back in Jesus' time, the lamps were really important because they didn't have electricity. And so if they didn't bring the lamps, it would be dark. And then, well, you wouldn't be able to see what's going on at the party because there were no lights. It would just be the stars, and that would be pretty dark. This right here is a mini replica of what the lamps used to look like. And you would put the oil in this part here, and the wicks would go in this part here, and you would light them, and they would be bright, and then people could see what was going on around. And so it was really important. It was a very important job for the bridesmaids to take care of the lamps and to have the oil. There were 10 bridesmaids, and some of the bridesmaids were prepared and some were not. So let's read our story out of the Bible. It's from Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 through 13. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like this. 10 bridesmaids took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. When the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them. But the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, all of them became drowsy and slept. Well, we don't know why the bridegroom was delayed. It doesn't really say in here how come the groom was late, but all we know is that he was late and it got to be midnight. And at midnight there was a shout, "Look, Here's the bridegroom. Come out to meet him." Then all of the bridesmaids got up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise replied, "No, there will not be enough for you and for us. You'd better go to the dealers and go buy yourselves some more." And while they went to buy it, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went with him into the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later, the other bridesmaids came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open up to us." But he replied, "Truly, I tell you, I do not know you. Keep awake, therefore, for you neither know the day nor the hour." So keep awake and be prepared. Well, is there anything at your house that is always ready to go? What do you have that's always ready? Well, by my back door, we've got the car keys. They're always really ready when we're running out the door. My purse is usually sitting pretty close to the back door. And in the winter, we've always got our coats and probably, well, most of the time our shoes are by the back door. And what about your backpacks? Do you keep your backpacks handy by the back door, ready to go? Do you leave them in a spot where you can quickly grab them in the mornings so that you know where they are and you're prepared? What have you missed out on because they weren't there or something wasn't there when something happened? Well, when I was a kid, there was an ice cream truck that came through our neighborhood. And I didn't get ice cream very often, but occasionally I saved my money and I would be all excited because I knew the ice cream truck was coming soon. But one week, I didn't really have myself very organized and I didn't remember where I had put my money. And I could hear the ice cream truck coming, so I knew that the time was getting close. And I ran inside and I could not figure out where I had put my money. And I looked, and by the time I found the money, the ice cream truck had gone and I had missed the ice cream. And let me tell you, I love ice cream. So I was very sad and very disappointed. Well, Jesus told this story to remind people to be ready for God at all times. And who helps you be ready to be able to see God in your life? Who helps you be ready to see God in your life? Well, probably your moms and dads do. Maybe it's grandma and grandpa. When you come to church, probably the pastors, or now that you're watching it online, the pastors help you see God. Maybe sometimes it's a friend who helps you see God. But you can always find God when you take time to pray, can't you? Open up the Bible and read the Bible and just take time to be with God, and you will always find God there. Well, Jesus has told us that someday he will return, and he didn't tell anybody when he was going to return or how he was going to return. But in the Bible story today, he's telling us that someday he will return, and we need to be ready and be prepared for that. And so being prepared, what it tells us in the Bible, is that we need to be in relationship with God, and we shouldn't be not including God in our life every day. And so if we remember to pray and to talk to God, and we read the Bible, and we find the good in others, then we are prepared to be able to see God every day and to be ready for someday when he comes back. Well, we are getting ready for another packet pickup here. This is the last of your lessons. And next Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons, we're going to be opening up the front entry, and you can come in there. We'll have the packets ready for you there. Look for more information as exactly to the times. And also, pretty soon we're going to be starting a drive for warm winter things for our neighbors here in town, and more information will be coming out for that also. And that will be a great outreach for us. In the meantime, your leaflets today are called 10 Bridesmaids, and I hope that you guys have a good time together working through your leaflets and learning all sorts of things about being prepared. Have a good week. We'll see you again soon.